everyone, my name is Emma Latterly. I am a partner of Shepard Settlement Farm Red Angus here in Marcellus. So I'm going to do what I'm calling a virtual farm tour for you guys today. Bear with me, I've really never done anything like this, so just bear with me. So I'm starting basically kind of like at one end of the farm, and I'm going to hike to the other end. It's not too far, so I'll be a little out of breath. Behind me here, I'll start, is our steer pen. So those couple you see back there are steers. Steers are a castrated male animal, and those are what we raise for beef. So they're in here on a special diet, gaining some weight. And I'll show you in the barn where they come inside and eat. But we let them out in this pen. Pretty good size. You see these, it's an old bunk silo from the previous farmer. So they have a pretty good sized pen to go out in, and then they come inside and eat and lay down, whatever they'd like to do. We only have about 4 steers. As the video goes on, I'm probably gonna pause here in a minute to make sure you guys can hear me with the wind. I'll explain more about why we don't really have a big steer program. We focus more on heifers and bulls. This is the barn I pointed out where the steers eat. So we have a couple different pens here for the animals to come inside. Now that they hear me talking, I think they're gonna come inside and eat. So we have steers all the way at the end. And then this whole segment, right now we just have heifers in. Eventually as winter comes, winter is our calving time, so this will get changed around. And this will be a place for mamas or other animals to come in and eat. And then we have this area over here, which you can see is partitioned off and just has these small entryways. So this will be clean and have a really fresh, nice straw bed in it. And the calves can go in there and they get away from their moms once they've, they come out, they drink, hang out, and then they can go in there and relax. So it keeps them nice and clean and warm all winter. This is also one of the barns, same barn we store hay in. We feed hay mostly all winter with a skid steer. We have one of our field tractors parked in here. But that's what this barn mainly is. This wagon over here is what we get a feed delivered here. And it just gets augered into here, and it's a ground feed. So this has ground corn in it. It has soybean, and it has distillers, which is the byproduct of making. I cut myself off. So the feed has a byproduct of making alcohol, which is called distillers. So actually, if you do give the feed a smell sometime, you can notice a little bit of like an alcohol smell. I'm just gonna take you guys out in the barnyard to show you some of the heifers. So everything is getting to that winter place where it's kind of mucky, but this ground here is all concrete, so we scrape it with the skid steer and it stays pretty nice and clean. I'm not sure how to turn my camera around without pausing, so I'm just going to turn around with you guys and show you some of our animals. I can show you guys that are under here. So you may notice, I said we have Red Angus. And obviously some of those animals are not red. So one big part of our program is embryo transfer work. So we use red mama cows and we collect their embryos and put them in surrogate mothers. So the surrogate mothers could be, they could have a white face, they could be all black, they could be red, they could be any type of beef cow. But however, so like any pregnancy, the pregnancy might not, so we call it sticking. The cow could miscarry. And in these cases, if she does miscarry, she gets bred by a bull and she's gonna have a natural calf. So her natural calf could be, like you guys saw, black, or I don't have any white faced cows. Could be any, sort of color. Or this is an example, this one right here, here, is actually what we call commercial. It's not Red Angus. She's all red, but actually if we looked at her belly, it's all white. So she's one of the animals that came from, you know, a surrogate mom, but was bred by the bull. I know this is kind of a confusing topic, subject, so when we talk, we can totally talk more about it if you guys are interested in the embryo transfer work, and I'll talk more about it when we Zoom. So I'm still in the same barn, but I'm just walking up. So this was an old dairy farm. So when it was a dairy, these were, you know, the free stalls where the cows hung out all day, laid down. And then at the far end of the barn is where they went and were milked. Now we use it partially for hay storage. So hay we feed to the animals, but we also sell some. So we store a lot and sell it by like a tractor trailer load. We have automatic waterers throughout the barn for animals. Come winter time, there's one pen up there. That'll be a calving pen. There's pens on the other side, which I'll show you. Those all become calving pens. So when a cow's close to calving, we bring her in there and she's nice, bedded down, and then she has her calf in the pen. Inside, out of the cold. She stays in there with the calf for about 3 days, and then we let the mama and the calf out together. And they go back out into the barnyard I just showed you. The cows that we feel like are close to calving, we bring in here or on this other side, and they just get to stay inside. They don't get as like luxury settings as the ones we know for sure are having their babies, but they're in a safe, warm environment in case they were to calve. I have a friend following me around. She's not sure about this. Another thing I'll point out is obviously you guys haven't seen any of our mama cows yet, and on this tour I'm actually not going to be able to show you any because right now, well, over spring, summer, and then into fall, they're all out on pasture, so with their calves and just eating grass. They're very self-sustainable. Then come winter time we bring them back, and depending on what crop we've had in this field, we let them out there to graze. So this year this was all corn, so it's all the corn stubble from what came out after we shucked, you know, the cob off the corn with a combine, and all the cows go out on the field. So I took a little video earlier that you guys can see. So it's just a really great, cheap way to keep cows fed until like we get into that true winter time. And when it gets true winter time, the barnyard I showed you guys, which is where I still am, we have another barnyard down there. All our mama cows will be up there. So we have about 30 mama cows that are pregnant to calve. We calve in January and February. Some, just like I said earlier, they might calve later if they lost a calf and then got bred by the bull. So, we do have a veterinarian come, and he does perform pregnancy checks with an ultrasound, just like if you know anyone that's had a baby. Very similar. They date the baby, so we will have an idea, because like I showed you, we bring all the animals inside. I'm just going to try to get out of the wind a little. Inside to calve, so we like to have a really good idea. Besides, like, we've over time become very well trained on seeing a cow and knowing, you know, are they a couple days away from calving or are they weeks out? There's different signs we can look at the cow physically to determine. And I will introduce to you Squeaky. He's the farm supervisor. So our equipment's parked kind of all over. We like to keep a lot of it inside, especially certain pieces depending on what they do and how they're made. So in here I have more hay, like I mentioned before. And on the far side there's straw, which we use for bedding. I'll point out a little equipment to you. This big thing over here is our combine. A combine harvests all our crops for us except hay. So that's a really vital piece of equipment right there. This big red thing is our hay baler, so it bales these big square bales. Behind this is our planter. So we plant corn and soybean with this. The corn and beans actually go in the back. And then these big containers, they actually hold fertilizer. which goes in that wagon, and it comes out. We have to fill it frequently. That red one over there is what we call a drill. That plants just our wheat or our hay.